Hey guys, what is up? I am Blossom. I will be doing some streaming. It's not something I typically do, but I got my thyroid removed recently, so I'm not like at 100% yet. Anyways, today we're diving into Vanderpump Rules. Hold on, let me check to see if my volume is working because last time or yesterday it wasn't. So let me just check that real quick. Hmm. Ooh, one of my favorite YouTubers just posted. All right. Let me check. All right. There we go. I can hear myself. Okay, cool. So today we're diving into Vanderpump Rules, season 11, episode 4, Dog Days of Summer. Um, it definitely does feel like they're dragging everything out. It feels like every time I talk about an episode, um, it's really nothing happened in this episode type of thing, but let's get right into it. How I do it is that I take photos of things I think that are important in the episode and we just kind of talk about it that way. So I'm going to pull up the screen. Okay. Hold on. All right. Okay, cool. All right. So in this episode, James and Allie, they're throwing a pool party. I will say, even though I've talked a lot of, or I've said a lot of negative things about James, I'm not really a huge fan. I will say it is nice to see James. I do I want to use the word evolve? It is nice to see him owning his own home, like thinking about where he came from as far as his mother. Remember that one season where James's mother was talking to Lisa Vanderpump saying you're like a mother to him? Like that was very weird. You know what I mean? It just it just seems like he's come a long way. So I am glad to see that he's a homeowner and he's excited that he's throwing a pool party. So that's something. Yep. There we got the bounty. Oh gosh. Okay. Not funny. Um so yeah, we have James and Allie. I will say in this episode, I felt like Lala bringing up James' sobriety and his reasoning behind it. Although I did think that was obviously a storyline because Lala didn't really have one. I am intrigued to hear, or it was very interesting to hear that when the whole Sandoval situation happened, James and Allie were apparently fighting. Apparently, the problem was that James was too emotional about the whole Rachel Leviss and Tom Sandoval situation, which caused a fight and actually caused her to leave their home for a couple of days. So I thought that was very interesting, and I want to see more of that. I would love for them to talk more about that. I would love to hear that more from Allie, because I feel like okay, we've seen, Allie as this nice person, and that's great and all. We all could be nice people, but I want to see the tea. I want to know the tea. Like, do you feel like James has feelings for Rachel Leviss? So things like that. But anyways, so we have Ariana, yada yada. What else? Okay, so I believe this talk is with Ariana and Katie. And I believe that they were talking about the situation last night of Schwartz trying to get everybody to down to Lake Tahoe or something like that, trying to get them down for a trip. And you have Katie and you have Ariana. They're basically discussing what happened last night. And, Ariana pretty much being fed up. Like, there's no way I would ever, hang out with Schwartz, not Schwartz, Sandoval, basically. Do, do, do. Her face here is funny. So, yeah, this is definitely the conversation of them discussing Schwartz's invite to Lake Tahoe. Okay. So this was interesting. Then you had Lala and Sheena. They visit Lisa. They give Lisa a visit. So Lisa answers the door and she's sitting there like assorting her flowers, putting them. It's just so typical Lisa. Like this is what she does during the day. She arranges her flowers and all this stuff. But anyways, so this was a sad moment because once again this episode dives heavily into wanting to be unalive, dives into mental health issues. And this is the first time for me that I've seen Sheena show some type of, remorse or some type of like felt really horrible towards Sandoval, felt sorry for Tom Sandoval. Because if you don't know, Lisa's brother unalived himself. And for the first time, like you see even Lala being like, oh my gosh, like we none of us want it to get that far to where Tom feels like he's in a spot to where he doesn't want to be here anymore. So I thought this was a very heavy topic as well. The only thing that I wish that they would incorporate, as much as they're incorporating in this episode about mental health, um, I would love for them to also show the realness of it all too. Like, I just hate the fact that Tom Sandoval is probably going to get away with what he did to Rachel. And if you don't know, yesterday I was saying Tom Sandoval, he recorded Rachel Leviss without her consent, without her knowledge on a FaceTime, recorded that. And then that video was sent to people in the group, which is not okay. And do you think we're going to hear that story? So, as much as I love, because obviously mental health is such a serious issue, and Lisa, she's experiencing it, with her brother. Yeah, so obviously these things need to be talked about. But all I'm saying is, I wish additionally what Tom Sandoval did, I wish would be talked about as well. Okay, so Lisa's talking to Sheena. And okay, I am so if I have to hear Sheena say one more time how Sheena's upset because she reached out to Tom Sandoval when his friend passed away. And to me, if I knew that Sheena was gonna reach out to me, if I had a friend that passed away and if I knew it was gonna be such a hassle because I didn't respond to you, when a friend because Sheena reached out to Tom because one of Tom's friends or Tom and Ariana's friends passed away, and Sheena's like, "I reached out and no response, he blocked me. I reached out." And I'm like, yeah, and now you're giving him the biggest headache of his life. His friend died, and you still want some acknowledgement that you reached out when his friend you might as well just have not reached out. But 2, I'm kind of conflicted with Sheena here because during this time, did you or did you not go on your podcast and have guests on to kind of co-sign what you've said about Sandoval as well? So obviously, there's more to the picture to why he's not responding to you, to why he didn't unblock you. So i- so even if you did reach out because his friend passed away, that I could see how that wouldn't be enough if, during that same time you also had friends on your podcast talk shit about him. So make it make sense. Feel me? All right. So they're talking about this. Sheena still has her feelings hurt about the situation. Sheena does disclose to Lala that, yeah, when Sandoval and I had a talk last night, Sandoval was like how Lala's a narcissist. So I felt that was like obviously stirring up trouble. In Lala's situation, she's in this conversation with Lisa. She does discuss how, she never wanted to get that far with Sandoval either because she's also been in a similar situation. And with Lala, I get what she's saying. And I'm like, I don't dislike Lala. I have like a million and one send it to Daryl hoodies. Like, I don't dislike Lala whatsoever. But what I am saying here is I think Lala's still in a whole different other boat. Like, I don't even think you can yes, I can get why there's some similarities here, but I strictly remember Lala knowing exactly who she lied in bed with. It wasn't like because I feel like now Lala's, like, painting this picture of, I didn't know Randall was like this, but if you guys remember that reunion where she was like, "My man buy me this, my man buy me that, my man," and that whole entire time during that reunion, because it was so memorable because what stayed with me was not one time did she ever say, "Oh, I love my man because of this. I love my man because of that." And so it was always stood so memorable to me when she was like, "My man, I drove up in this car today. My man buy me this. My man. Don't you like Andy? An old, like hairy, ugly man." Like she would say like you know what I mean? Like she just was liking her man for all the wrong reasons. So I just don't I think this is a different situation. Now, maybe Lala's feelings changed when she got pregnant and she thought, okay, this man that I met for assets and money, now I'm going to be falling in love with him because, I'm pregnant and yada, yada, yada. So maybe her feelings might have changed. But as far as I can recall, that relationship was definitely not built on love. At least that's not how it started. So I would have to say Lala, this is definitely a different situation from you and Randall for sure. Definitely. All right. So Lala and Lisa, they're talking. Okay, so now um they reach to James and Allie's party. It's definitely obviously like it's a James party. I mean, there's pool, there's alcohol. It's so funny though because who's that? But also no one's really drinking. Sheena's not drinking, Lala's not drinking, James isn't drinking. Um I don't know who else isn't drinking. It just seems like nobody's drinking. So it's funny to see the adults have fun with no alcohol. All right. So they're partying. James is having fun. Good for James for being a homeowner. Good for him. Schwartz gets picked on for bringing like 1,000,001 plants. Apparently, I guess Schwartz had brought like Allie says Schwartz has bought him like 3 plants for the home. Um, they're having a ball. Everybody is like jumping into the pool. I think that's James, and then that's Schwartz. So now we get to Tom Sandoval and Billy Lee. So, which is kind of crazy to me because I can't recall the last time that I saw Billy on this show. Ooh, spilt some Celsius on myself. Mm. So Sandoval, he's at this relaxation spa. He's hanging out with Billy Lee. Billy, I don't know when the last time she was on the show, honestly. But obviously Tom needs some friends right now. So he's with Billy. They're chilling, they're talking. Billy actually during this time, Billy does ask Sandoval if like, are you considering dating again? And Sandoval says, I wrote this down. Sandoval. So Sandoval said that he is saving himself for Rachel. That's what he says. He's saving himself for Rachel. And I thought, well, according to Rachel Leviss, when you listen to her podcast, she would see constantly Tom photographed with different girls while she was at the treatment center. So you don't know what to believe half the time. And eh, you can say just because he was, photographed with the female, that doesn't mean he was with this person. But then I do also recall during this time, there were TMZ clips of him like holding hands with like these females and like, trying to skedaddle to the car and stuff. So I do recall myself some images. Now we don't know for sure, but anyways, during this time, apparently he's supposed to be saving himself for Rachel, apparently. And during this time, he's also supposedly not drinking. I don't trust anybody on this show. I don't trust anybody, but apparently he's not drinking as well. All right. But the spot does look kind of cool, though. I'm not gonna lie. This looks dope. I would love I need a spa day, a 90-minute massage. My last 90-minute massage was in October in Greece. Actually, we had 2 90-minute massages. Yeah, not gonna lie. Like, that place was so good. Where were we in? Obviously, like, in Santorini, but Fura? They have this place in Fura, 90-minute massages. I definitely had 2 90-minute massages, and it was the best massage of my life. It was a full body. I mean, that lady was touching stuff that no one has ever touched before. I'll tell you that for sure. Anyways, so then we have back to the party. So now we have Lala and Allie moment. So Lala's curious to what led James to stop drinking. And I think she's thinking she can get it out of Allie. And Allie's like, well, you know what? Hmm, how about you, Lala? You have a conversation with James and you talk to him why he stopped drinking. You do that. And I think this was Allie's moment to really be on the show and be like, this is what happened between James and I. I left the house for a couple of nights because I did feel like he was more emotional over Rachel and cared more about her than our relationship. I felt like this was a moment for like Allie to have a really good storyline. And she just was like, still kind of hiding behind the cameras and not really giving us much. All right. And now we have the Lala and Schwartz conversation. So Lala and Schwartz, um, basically they kind of talk about the incident of what happened the night before. The night before they were at Sir, and Schwartz was trying to invite everybody to go to Lake Tahoe, whatever, and to go on this vacation, this trip. And Schwartz basically was like, I'm inviting everybody. And everyone's like, so you're also gonna invite Sandoval? And so Lala's like yelling at him the night before, saying, what is it going to take for you to like dump Sandoval? What is it going to take? So Lala is now apologizing for her behavior, apologizing for going too heavy, putting her opinions way in too deep than what it really needs to be. So she's apologizing for that. And Schwartz, he also apologizes for, I guess, being rude in the past. I guess in the past he had made fun of her lips. They bring like a flashback of him making fun of her lips and yada yada. So they so the two basically they make up, they apologize, they're good with each other. Um but there were a few things I wanted to read that I wrote down from here that I thought was interesting. So Schwartz says that Sandoval is family and he can't abandon the man. Lala does apologize to Schwartz for coming hard last night. Schwartz said he's not going to fawn for Ariana's affection or validation, but loves Ariana. Um, and then he did say that Ariana looked at him like he's like a subhuman. So I thought that was kind of funny. He's like, look, that she's the queen and we're all not going to just kneel down to her. So Schwartz thinks Ariana has a lot of diva behaviors. I don't know. Because at the time of this filming, everything was really hot, everything was really heavy. So I don't know. Hmm. Well, what we do know from trailers is that Lala also at some point gets fed up with Ariana as well. So from the trailers, we know that. Alrighties. So we have, and of course, so Lala and Sheena, they talk to Ariana. They're like, hey, we just came from Lisa Vanderpump's place. And Lisa Vanderpump, she's talking about, her brother. And Ariana's like, you know, Lisa's brother and Tom Sandoval are two different people. So it's not fair to compare the two. Ariana was not having it. I understand where Ariana's coming from, even though it's just kind of like you it's hard because this happened to this person, to Ariana, so she has every right to not forgive this person, and it's kind of you're kind of caught in the middle because it's like, how do you force someone to care when they hurt you? It's so hard, but at the same time, you don't want anything to happen to Tom Sandoval either. No, but it's very it's a tricky situation, so I understand the frustration. Yeah, let's see what else happens. And even Ariana's like, I know this is rude, but like Tom basically saying that he wants to unalive himself is annoying. That's basically what she says in this confessional. So, and then Sheena's sitting here just like, oh my gosh, I know if I talk to Sandoval, I'm gonna cave in because I'm really not this mean person. I'm really a nice person. And I don't want Ariana to hate me either because I love her. But I know once I start talking to Sandoval, I'm gonna feel sorry for him and I'm gonna want to be his friend. So Sheena's just kind of sitting there like, torn in in the middle. You could just this face says it all that she's torn pretty much. So now we have, which I think arguably is the best part of this episode. This James and Lala and they talk. The reason why I say this is the best part of the episode is because I am here for some James and Allie drama, some James and Allie tea. I don't follow or keep up with these people, so I had no idea they had some drama. I had no idea that the reason why James Kennedy decided to not drink anymore was because of the whole Sandoval situation. Because to me, I'm sitting here like, well, according to Rachel Leviss, and the reason why you're going to hear me say according to Rachel Leviss a lot is because that girl has nothing to hide. She has, like, she will stand on that pedestal and she'll be like, I did this, this, and this. She may do it with a huge sigh or a shaky voice, but she says it. She'll tell you what she did. So that, and you always listen to that's the podcast you want to listen to. Someone that's telling you, this is what I did wrong, but also this, this, and this. Like you believe them. So according to Rachel Leviss, James Kennedy met Allie like 10 days after their engagement broke off. So how sorry was he? Like how hurt was he? I don't know. But anyways, so James and Lala, they sit down and Lala's basically asking James, what made you want to become sober? And James, on for a second. Okay. And then James is like, he's actually kind of fed up with the question. I don't, it definitely does seem like a question he didn't want any answer. He didn't want to answer. And so James just like, look, when the Sandoval situation happened, I was going through a lot and, there was a lot of emotions. Ali and I, we were fighting and it seems like James didn't want to say that on camera. That's what it seems like to me. Because guys, watch out for Allie, y'all, because I definitely believe that she's definitely like the wears the pants, so to speak. Like she definitely is the one who's like, you better not say this, this, and this. That's what I'm this is just my opinion. But you could tell he really didn't want to talk about it on camera. But Lala did get something out of him. So James does respond. He's just like, Allie and I, we were fighting a lot. And then I was also drinking a lot during that time. Allie actually physically left the house for a few days. So that was serious. And so I wanted to know more about that. I mean, they kind of just edited it real quick and said like two words on it, and that was it. And I wanted to hear more about that. So I was very into, the whole Allie and James fighting over Rachel Leviss. I was really into that because I did feel as if he met Allie way too fast. Just like I feel like Ariana met Dan way too fast, literally 10 days after the whole Sandoval situation. So I felt like, both of those people just met them way too fast, if you ask me. So yeah, that was the episode. Was there anything else? Okay, so then we have oh no, that's definitely not the episode. Okay. I completely forgot. So then we have Rebecca at Schwartz's place. Sandoval comes over. Schwartz and this chick, I forget. They seem to be friends with benefits. That's what it sounds like to me. Um, yeah. So that's what that sounds like to be friends with benefits. Miss Cancer over here. So anyways, Sandoval comes over. They chill, they hang out, and this is where Sandoval Schwartz is just like, "Look, Sandoval, I understand you're upset with Sheena. I understand you helped Lala sell a bunch of Send It to Daryl's hoodies and sweatshirts. I get it, but you can't bring this energy with you to on the trip. You cannot bring this energy because right now Sandoval's bringing this energy like I've apologized a million times. Should I say, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry that I helped you sell a bunch of merch"? Should I be saying that? Oh, so I understand what Schwartz is saying. Like, you definitely don't want to bring this energy of, um, you don't want to bring this energy of just hate, because you're not going to win because you were in the wrong. So I'm hoping on this trip, Sandoval leaves it at the door. Sandoval's just like, you know what? He just takes the L. That's what I'm hoping, because you can't walk in and be like, "Guys, you should not hate me because all of you guys have financially benefited getting Uber Eats commercials and stuff. All of you guys have benefited financially from me, so you guys should be thanking me." That is the energy Sandoval has right now. So I'm hoping he leaves it at the door. Now, the next, and then to end the story, or to end the episode, oh, okay. So yeah, we do have Sheena. Sheena and Brock, they still have issues with having a babysitter. Sheena has trust issues. So then Sheena and Brock, James and Allie, they sit down. They have their double date. And then they basically talk about how frustrating the whole entire Sandoval situation is. They sit there and they sit there and they just talk about, okay, we know what Sandoval did was wrong, but how long can you go hating somebody? That's basically what they talk about. Like, how long can you go hating someone? We understand what he did was wrong. We have Ariana's back, but at the same time, like, as a human being, you can't physically just hate someone. It's so hard to continuously just to hate someone until eternity. So they basically say they talk about how it's unrealistic of them to really just hate on Sandoval. Now we get to Vanderpump Dogs, where Lisa Vanderpump brings Graham, a dog that James had shared with Rachel Leviss, back into the picture. Apparently, Graham, he was at a foster home, according to Lisa in this episode, and I don't know. Lisa doesn't explain that much. She doesn't explain that much, but what's interesting is Lisa goes to James, "Do you want Graham back?" Because Graham was a dog that he had shared with Rachel Leviss, his ex fiance. And James, like, "You know what? I'll make it work," which I kind of thought was irresponsible because he lives with Allie. So when you're living with someone, you probably want to inform them about bringing another dog into the home. You definitely want to have a conversation, because what's interesting, guys, is if you look at the trailer for the next episode, you see that Graham is already not getting along with the cat. So I thought this episode was interesting because, also listening to Rachel Leviss' podcast of how this came about, Rachel did call up Lisa Vanderpump and tell her, "Hey, James is a horrible dog owner," and went through the whole spiel of how Graham was in a foster home. So I wonder if that will occur on the show. If that will happen on the show, will Lisa share, or will that, because you can share stuff on the show, but it never makes it to air. So I wonder if that will air. um, but yeah, that was pretty much the episode. Let's see. Graham. Oh, I don't know if these are real tears or not. I don't know. Rachel said he was a horrible dog owner. I don't know. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Okay, so that was pretty much the episode. The only interesting thing that happened in last night's episode was, if you ask me, was the reason why James stopped drinking was because of the whole Sandoval situation. And then Allie actually left their home for 2 nights. Apparently, they were fighting so badly because Allie felt like James had too much emotions over the whole Rachel Leviss and Tom Sandoval situation. So that's interesting. That's the tea. That's all I cared about in that episode because you don't really hear much from Allie. So and James didn't even want to share or be forthcoming with that information when he had his conversation with Lala. So I'm very interested on the next episode of, you know, James and Allie. I want to know more about their fights. I also want to know more about Brock and Sheena, because that mom was way too quick to tell Brock in the last episode about how he never defends Sheena. So yeah, but yeah, those are my thoughts about this episode. Thank you guys for like listening to me. I typically don't do live streams. I'd rather do a video because I feel like videos are so much better sometimes. But we're not at 100 yet. But I definitely will be watching next week's episode and then I will talk about it the next day. But yeah, thank you guys for watching and I will see you soon on the next video or the next live stream. Bye guys.